Nick, we're excited to be here. Start you off on a beautiful week. We got a beautiful week ahead of us. COVID's slowly dying out. People are getting vaccinated. Football season's right around the corner. We're at the NBA playoff mark now. We're getting ready. We're getting more excited. Are you getting excited, Nick?
Getting pumped up, man. We're getting close. It starts to feel real this time of year. You get into June and the training camps start really going, and then it's like, oh shit.
Absolutely.
Like I was just back in Chicago. I was just telling my dad when he was driving me back to the airport. I was like, dude, like we are right there. Like the NFL season
Yeah,
is going to be here before you know it. So I'm
for
pumped,
sure.
man. I'm pumped.
Absolutely. And this is like the weather starting to turn, get real nice. Everyone to enjoy that type. Like you said, you're starting to get the news from the NFLs, camps, people starting to report. You get a little action there, which, it's not anything, normally it's not anything like super exciting, but
Right,
it's
right.
just that step or two closer to the NFL season. And guys, tonight we got a great Monday evening football preview for you. We got the Detroit Lions versus the Green Bay Packers.
The
So
Green Boy Packers. That's what I
the
like to
Green
hear.
Boy Packers. Yeah, because we're playing with boys, not men. No, pause. But the Green Bay Packers versus the Detroit Lions. Hey, that's going to be a good week 2 matchup on Monday Night Football. We got the unknown Detroit Lions that are being reinvented as we speak. We have the Green Bay Packers who have been far dominant in the division for a long time. And, got a little Aaron Rodgers saga that I think people are trying to make a bigger deal out of. I don't know if anything's necessarily going to happen because of that. I saw Peyton Manning say he wishes Aaron Rodgers would stay in Green Bay. We'll see. We'll see what all the ins and outs to around there. And, we're going to provide some great insight on the Lions and the. You
Yep.
guys know we're unapologetically Packers fans. So are we're going to analyze this fairly though, for sure. Positives and negatives from both teams. Really dive predictions to go into the league or into the year with. Maybe make some bets. It'll be exciting. It'll be good stuff for sure.
Looking forward to it. I can't wait. Get a little matchup in that game too that we saw in the playoffs last year with Goff and Rodgers. Now that
Mm-hmm.
Goff's in Detroit, and that's me assuming as an unapologetic Packers fan that we'll see Rodgers back. But yeah, man, I'm excited to do that one tonight.
Yeah, that will be exciting for sure. But let's talk about some news around the league that we got going on. Um, hey, do you see this 40-yard dash race?
Unreal, right? Unreal.
Yeah, I saw it over on the Pat McAfee show. He was talking about it. Apparently, McCole Hardman ran it. Who put it on? Was it Bleacher Report put it on? I believe.
I would have to look. Let me
I
actually.
believe it
I'll
was
look.
Bleacher Report.
Yeah. I
I
think they might have actually.
I believe they were able to get together. I believe they paid him as well, but I think in this whole content game and things where throwing competitions that I think you might start to see more events come up like this. The NFL is
Yep.
not going to like that, so they will try to put a stop to it. But I
They
think if
will.
the NFL was smart and our boy Roger over, they would kind of lean because it is only good for the NFL. The NFL brand as a whole to off the field. Gives a May Day that has no trade rumors or any signings or anything like that. A you know very positive thing with the NFL because you have guys competing and people are interested in that. People want to know who the fastest guy is in the NFL. Who can throw the ball the farthest.
No
Those
doubt. No
typical
doubt.
like old Pro Bowl type of events, that they used to have. Like you're gonna see like the bar stools, the you know bleacher reports on these events more and more. And I think it is going to help the NFL as a whole if they don't take the stance of we need to try and kibosh this because our players could get hurt, things like that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty awesome to see. I think the NFL is starting to realize that as an entertainment business, there's a lot more that they can do, and I think they're also probably starting to realize that the way the world is moving is more to just create content. Doesn't have to be
Yes.
exactly like NFL game content. I think they're starting to get
Yep.
a handle on that, or at least the players are, like you said, because I guess it was put on Bleacher Report. But I'm sure the NFL has to sign off on that to some degree, or there's probably something in the CBA that allows for that. So, I mean, legally
Yeah.
speaking,
And
you should see more of this moving forward, which is kind of cool.
for and the crazy thing is that Kansas City Chiefs actually tweeted about it. They
Oh yeah,
tweeted
that's
the
awesome.
results like the numbers don't lie. Look who
Yeah,
won,
that's awesome.
and their guy McCole Hardman 422. And then they list the other guy Henry Ruggs was in it, Devin White and Justin Jefferson. Um, filling it up. But cool to see an NFL team like backing their guy. Like, yeah, we got speed.
No
You
doubt,
know,
no doubt.
so I think that definitely goes in helping with the like let's try to get this as a thing in the NFL. So some pressure from the teams to get the NFL to do more of this, or support from the teams more likely is probably going to be a big thing moving forward.
Right.
Um, but staying with McCole Hardman dominating the 40, it looks like Patty Mahomes is ready to get back on the field and start dominating after his turf toe surgery, and he's ready for team drills. So good for the NFL to have Patty Mahomes back. I mean, we knew he probably wasn't going to be out during the season,
Right.
just standard surgery and then things like that. But I'm excited to see his kind of recovery and how he'll play next year. I think he'll return into, regular form. I don't think this injury is going to set him back at all, but it will be exciting to see what he's able to do this offseason as the season. Because I think, Kansas City Chiefs, of course, definitely a top four team to go and win the Super Bowl again this year.
Yeah, I think Pat's an interesting one, right? Because he has had a little bit of injury trouble so far in his career, and with the way he plays, right? I mean, he does play like
Mm-hmm.
that sort of crash style of football where he's running around like he's not afraid to take a hit, and that's always that's kind of always what you wonder about with a quarterback like him. It's
Yeah.
weird, but it's like he's got a little bit of that to him where it's like, I mean, the only thing that seems like it's going to slow him down is himself, right? And there's been a
Yep.
lot of guys in the league over the years that I feel like have been criticized because they don't slide when they should, they don't get out of the way
Yeah.
to take big hits and all that. So I'm just curious to see, because I do think with the Chiefs, that is like one place where they're susceptible. Is Patrick Mahomes has not exactly
Yeah.
been healthy. If you remember when the Packers went and played him a couple years ago, he was out. Packers won that game.
Yep.
He was hurt for a good chunk of that season. He's got surgery this
Yep.
year. You just wonder as we keep going, how does a 29, 30, 31 year old Patrick Mahomes look, right? In a few years.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting. How does he hold up at that point? And then obviously as the contracts start to come around, right? And they got to make some
Yep.
moves in the salary cap. We're still a few years away from that, but I do think it's interesting when people talk about Patrick Mahomes. I think Patrick Mahomes is phenomenal right now. I think he's going to be phenomenal for a couple more years, 3 4 years. Then there is a second phase for all these quarterbacks. You get out, he's out of the
Yep.
rookie deal now, I believe, so he's going into the real deal. And with a guy like him, I mean, if he were to get hurt, let's just say, obviously not wishing that on him, knock on wood,
Yep.
right? But if he were to get hurt this season, I mean, that'd be what, 3 years in a row that he dealt with some injuries.
Yeah.
That's a storyline that I think people need to watch this season. They need to be aware of, especially Chiefs fans.
Yeah, I will say this though. Even though he does get hurt, throughout the season, he's still putting up numbers. So it is kind of crazy to see that I mean, even if I mean put a hurt Patrick Mahomes out there with his turf toe, still better than half the quarterbacks in the
Yeah,
league,
for sure, for sure, for sure.
by far. But speaking of another quarterback that is injured, coming off an injury, giving an injury update is our guy Dak Prescott over with the Cowboys, hoping to make that team good again. Make America's team good again is, I think, a slogan Jerry Jones
That's a
is
good one.
taking on. Maybe not, but he should probably put it on some Cowboy shirts. Or that sportscaster that retired a few weeks ago that we talked about that was ripping the
Oh yeah,
Cowboys. That should have
oh
been his
yeah.
sign off for that day. But Dak feels like he could play a game today and be very successful. So that's good. You got to love that as a Cowboys fan, Cowboys Nation, that your boy Dak's ready to rock. He's going through the injury process very well. I think Dak is a guy that could play with a pretty bad injury during a game.
Yeah,
So
tough,
for him to
tough.
say like he could play a game today, like I think probably after like a month, of his injury, he would probably say a similar thing, because I do think Dak is one of the tougher quarterbacks in the league, when it comes to just like determination, grit, that type of stuff. That's what I do think makes him a great leader in Dallas.
Sure.
Is some of those components is like very similar to like a Russell Wilson type of guy, that is like,
Yeah,
is just
that's a
like
great comparison. Yeah,
he's like elite, for sure, like a leader of that team. Like everyone's looking to him to make plays. I mean, they thought it might have been Ezekiel Elliott, but I think it's going to be more Dak Prescott moving forward, and it's really going to be up to him this year to make some big plays to really get that team over the hump that it's had the last several years of not getting in the playoffs, just being short, stuff like that. So I'm rooting for Dak. I hope his injury keeps getting better, or his injury process of getting his injury taken care of keeps getting better.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
definitely exciting to see that he feels like he could play today.
I mean, I'll tell you what, like I mean, shit, in that division, he better feel like he could go out there and win a game today. Like I mean, at the end of the day, I think he's probably talking about throw anyone out there against me. But shit, in that division, man, that dude should be able to win a game on crutches. I mean, at this point, like that's the thing about the Cowboys this year, man. Like he's healthy. Okay, cool. So he is healthy.
Yep.
You got Big Mike. You're in a fucking terrible division. Just an awful division. No one has any faith in any of the three other teams in that division. So, I mean, the reality is, like, this is it. Like, you should do something. Like, every year this happens with the Cowboys. Now, granted, he got hurt last year, so fine. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But he's healthy. He's saying he feels like he can play well. Like, I mean, what is left? You got CeeDee Lamb, right? Like, at receiver. You got Ezekiel Elliott back there. Like, the offense is ready to go. My thing is like
they still have Amari Cooper too.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, and my thing is like, dude, like you got to be able to get it done. Then, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you just have to. This dude's talking about, I feel like I could go out there and win a game today. Yeah, man, you better at least 6 of them because your division is garbage.
And you know what? With 6 wins, you might be able to get in the playoffs in your division.
Exactly.
It's possible. That is the unique thing over there in Dallas, and that division as a whole is, it's either, you could look at it 2 ways. It's so damn competitive. 8 wins. Either way you want.
Wild.
But yeah, that is.
And the weirdest part about it is, think about that division too. Like the recent history of that division is a damn good division. You've got 2 Giants Super Bowls. You've got an Eagles Super Bowl. All 3 of those are those were not guarantees. Those were kind of improbable Super Bowls. Like that division.
And those are in the last 15 years.
Exactly. I mean, that's 20% of the Super Bowls in the last 15 years are in that division, and yet in the years where they have it outside of those years, like, man, it is just a dumpster fire. Not to mention what you got going on with, they have a team in that division that doesn't have a mascot. They don't have a name. Like, that's an insane thing when you really think about it. Like, they struggled to have a team win any games last year, like they as a whole division. So it's weird, man. The NFL is a weird league where you see this roller coaster, like a once incredibly competent division, right? A division that had, once again, we're not talking about. This isn't 40 years ago. I mean, Donovan McNabb was consistently taking the Eagles out of that division into the NFC Championship game. What, 4 years in a row? That's 20 years ago, maybe. I mean, it's not like this is ancient history with this division, but as of late, man, jeez. So I think it kind of points to what we talked about the other day with the Bears, where it's like football seems to be better when the Cowboys are at least competitive. And
Yes.
most of the fans in the NFL do not like the Cowboys, right? Similar to the
Yep.
Patriots, similar to the Raiders. They have these really strong fan bases. Everyone else hates them, and it seems like when those type of teams are doing well, it helps the league, you know. And so, man, I would like to see it. You
Absolutely.
know, I would like to see it because I think it's better for football. But I'm certainly not going to wager any money on the Dallas Cowboys early in the year. So maybe that means I'm
For
calling Dak
sure.
Prescott full of shit because he says I'm out here, I'm ready. I can win some games, but so be it. You know, a wild division nonetheless, though.
I don't know if full of shit is the right word, but he's definitely suspect at this point.
Yeah, it's like you got to show me that
Definitely
you can. Yeah,
suspect.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And the thing with the Cowboys is like Dak Prescott, you're gonna have to go out there and you're gonna have to score 30 to 40 points a game to secure those victories.
Yes, yes, for
Like,
sure.
don't think that he come in and like, shutting teams down and holding them under, 20 points. So just know that. I mean, you got the Giants, you got the Eagles,
It's. I mean, they're chanting offense, offense. That's
you know. But
yes,
what's
yes.
more American to me is Patriots than Cowboys. So switching on over to New England and what they're doing, but I did hear from a little ESPN source. No, it's not. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
It was a
okay.
Fox Sports, but Julio Jones trade rumors are heating up, and I did hear that the Patriots
Yep,
had an internal conversation about him. And I
yep.
tell you what, that's a little scary. That's a little scary in
Yeah,
the
he
fact that he could go play with Cam Newton, which I think those two would ball out. But then you also have
for
Mac
sure.
Jones underneath Cam, who which would probably just accelerate his growth because it's a lot easier to go from Cam Newton to Mac Jones when you have a top two
Yes,
receiver on your team. So
yes.
it'll be interesting if the Patriots is the landing spot for Julio Jones, but we will see.
Sure. I think I saw. I also saw him in Dallas Cowboys hoodie the other day. I think somebody snapped a photo of him
Really.
uh, in a Dallas Cowboys hoodie. I think I saw something like that, or there was some connection to the Cowboys. I could be wrong on that, but yeah, I think I believe it was some connection to the Cowboys. Which once again, I mean, same thing, right? I mean, Julio Jones is a weird one because he's so good
Yeah.
that like you could arguably just put him anywhere and like he's going to make that quarterback's life easier and he's going to make that offense better.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing because he's so dominant. I think I saw today that he since 2015 is Pro Football Focus's number one receiver.
Really.
Since so for 6 years now. I mean, in that
Yeah.
period, and that is the period with the other guys like that are up there. You know,
Yeah.
Devontae Adams has been
Yep.
in the league. Like I mean, Julio Jones is the pinnacle.
Yeah.
So I agree with you though. I think the Patriots are super interesting. I
Yep.
think the Cowboys are super interesting. And then you've got a couple of these other teams that are weird, right? I don't know that the Packers could pull it off,
Yeah.
but you've got that Aaron Rodgers drama.
For
I don't know
sure.
that you'd want to pair him with Devontae
Yeah.
Adams. I think there's a few teams like that, right? Where you have some of these quarterbacks that are like maybe not totally happy.
Yep.
Russell Wilson's an interesting one. Seemingly
Yeah.
wanted to be traded. You know, he seemingly wanted to be traded at the time, right? The Bears, that was a whole story that was potentially going to
Yep.
happen. Are the Seahawks maybe looking to, make a move, try to get Julio Jones to make Russell Wilson happy, right? That's an interesting thing. If I had to guess, he's going to go to a contender because why would you not at this point? And obviously, his only Super Bowl appearance, we all know what happened there. So I think probably a contender. I think you're probably only looking at like 6 teams that he would go to. But I'm not. I mean, I'm not an NFL
Yeah.
insider. This is just my analysis from sitting in my house. But it does. I mean, it. Well, I don't think he's chasing a bunch of money and accolades. He's kind of won every award. He's got the money.
Yeah.
I think at this point,
Now,
it's about winning.
now, do you think this is more of a Julio Jones calling the shots of this, or do you think this is more of the Atlanta Falcons moving in a different direction and they're seeing
It's
Julio still at his peak? He's a little up there in age, and they're going to see his value start to drop. So why not go and get some value for him? Because the unique thing here is like you go and draft Kyle Pitts in the draft, and now you turn around and you get rid, or you're actively looking to trade Julio Jones.
right.
So that's odd because you think that 1-2 punch and those two guys alone
Right.
would be tremendous.
Yeah.
So I almost wonder if they're trying to move away from him because they feel like they got a guy in Kyle Pitts who is going to be a dominant force like a Julio Jones. So why not let's move Julio Jones and let's fill in some of these other needs that we have because we feel like we have the guy to replace him year one.
Yeah, I think
Also, a lot of pressure for a guy like Kyle Pitts, but
absolutely.
I think he can rise
But
to
an
it.
opportunity, right? Because it is truth. It now, if
For
they
sure.
move Julio Jones, it is truthfully an opportunity for him to actually like come in, step in, fill a role that they need, right? But the other thing that's interesting about the Julio Jones thing, I did read an article that said a lot of this is apparently a salary cap situation as well. For them to keep Julio Jones, they would have to move multiple other like starters to fit in under the salary cap, and that I guess is problematic because it's kind of what you spoke to.
For sure.
It sounds like the conversation is more, or it seems like the mindset is like, hey, look, I mean, maybe let's not lose 3 defensive starters or something, or whatever it is,
and maybe potentially 2 offensive starters,
to keep
like
Julio, like at this point. When, to be honest, if you're in the same division as the Buccaneers, now is the rebuild time. Let's just get it kicked off.
For sure.
Let's move Julio Jones. Let's get some picks. Let's ride it out with Matt Ryan for another year or 2, but we will continue to get picks. We've got Kyle Pitts. Now we go get a couple other people. Atlanta's always going to be a free agent destination. I mean, who doesn't love the ATL, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you got all the fan favorites down there, right? It's it is a place where you can get free agents at the end of the day. And so I do think that, and free agents, in football, it's interesting because a lot of those free agents, if you want to play near home, a lot of those guys are from the South, right?
Yeah.
So like, I'm here like in the South, and that's where you're getting all the talent from. That's where all those guys go, right? And so a lot of these guys that are from the South Carolina, the Georgia, the Florida, the Alabama, when they grow up, Atlanta is the hub. I mean, that's the spot you want to be, if you're not playing for one of those Florida teams. I think that they maybe are
that southeastern market.
For sure. And that's like what it is. It's at the end of the day, like, I think that's what they might be doing. I think that's what the Falcons might be looking at. So pretty interesting, though. I mean, if you're a Falcons fan, you're going to see some shifts going on these next couple of years, and I'm here for it. I think it's, Falcons are always an interesting team and always have been.
Sure.
So
yeah. I mean, talk about back in the days with Michael Vick and things like that. When he came on, he was electric. Brett Favre was with them, and then they traded him away like idiots. It's just like the amount of talent they've had that come through that organization. They haven't been able to hang on to it all, but pretty tremendous. But that is more interesting take that it is a salary cap thing because, and who knows how many other starters they would have to move in order to keep Julio Jones.
Right.
And when you're talking about moving starters, and if it gets over that 3 number to keep one starter, then it's probably,
what are you going to do? Right?
You definitely have to weigh your options, and it's most likely not weighing it in the favor of Julio Jones. So it will be interesting to see where he handles. I'll be interested to see what happens with Kyle Pitts, how he dominates the league this year, because I tell you what, he's probably going to dominate the league.
He very well could.
Especially if he's the number 1 receiver in Atlanta.
You never know, right?
I mean,
might be.
He does have a competent quarterback to get it to him.
He's a hell of a player.
It's not like he's coming. It's not like he's coming to doesn't know what he's doing in the NFL. Matt Ryan does know what he's doing. Still got to continue to prove himself and things like that. But he will put up some numbers this year for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But Nick, let me ask you this.
Okay.
Let me shoot one towards you real quick.
All right.
Anything that you've seen that's getting you excited for the potential possibility of the future of the NFL?
Oh, buddy, I tell you what, I am excited. The future of the NFL. I'll tell you what. I'll give you a little thing that I touched on in the newsletter today. Right? If anyone's listening, by the way, we do a newsletter every day. It's a great way to support the show. It's on Substack. You can see we always throw the link in the bio, so like you can just, if you're watching this, it's just right there. But it's a great way to help the show, help support the show, and we put it out daily, Monday through Friday. But anyway, so what I was touching on there today is something that I'm very excited about, which is a rule change that got proposed. And the rule change that got proposed is essentially, what happens is, instead of having onside kicks, because the onside kicks kind of been bullshit the last few years, instead of having onside kicks, you would be allowed to still kick an onside kick if you wanted. However, if you chose to two times a game, you would be able to go for a 4th and 15 from like your own 25, I think it is. It's like from right where you would kick it off at. If you get the first down, you retain the ball from the spot that you're at. So for you run your play at 4th and 15, you got to get to the 40 or whatever, right? You throw a nice pass to the 42, first down at the 42, and you're going. If you don't get it, the other team gets the ball at your 25 going in.
So major risk and reward there.
And I think that not just that rule in particular, but I just think that the way that rule shows that the NFL teams are thinking, and the fact that rule I think got proposed twice actually, last year and then this year as well. Like, that is showing that the NFL is looking at a lot of different possibilities. You've seen it with like the replay like system.
Yeah.
And you've seen it with a few different things. I am very excited for the way that the league is going, because I think for a long time the league struggled a little bit with getting people on board, right? You and I always heard it, right? Everything was like the pussification of the NFL. You had all these old timers and these hardliners.
They don't even let these guys hit anymore.
Yep.
It's like, no, we just don't want all these players that hit players to
have CTE.
Have brain damage. Yeah.
Yep. And so I think for a long time there was a struggle there for 4 or 5 years to get everything transitioned over. People were resistant to fantasy football at first. They didn't like how they felt like it was making the game gimmicky. They felt like, and then people adjusted, right? Then people didn't like the rule changes that protected quarterbacks, and then people adjusted, right? The game is still wildly entertaining, and I think that the NFL has done a good job of kind of like being able to listen to the fans, listen to the safety side of things, and still put a product out there that we all love to see. It is by no means a flag football league out there. It is by no means some league where everyone only cares about fantasy football. Like, the rumors that you used to hear, I mean, they're just not there. And so I think with some of these rule changes and stuff, like, I'm excited for the future of football, of like what the game will look like. I think the players are becoming more hybrid, like, type of players. Kyle Pitts is a great example of that. I mean, his whole draft, like, the way they broke him down in the draft was like, look, he's a tight end, but he's like a receiver. And, like, you can kind of play him, like, wherever you want, and he can do all this stuff.
Yeah.
The tight end position is super important nowadays. So is that defensively. It's like that hybrid, like, defensive end linebacker position, then also those hybrid, like, strong safety linebacker positions. Like, the game is going in such a cool way, and it's adapting, and I just think that's really cool. Now, granted, look, I don't want to see a bunch of gimmicky changes, right? I mean, at the end of the day, everybody still wants NFL football, but dude, in my mind, like, I'm excited about the way that it's like progressing. I'm excited about the fact that like gambling is getting involved and how that plays in. Like, I just like, I guess the best way to word it is, I like all the modernization. I like all of the sort of, and I think that encompasses the rule changes. I think that encompasses the versatility of the players.
Yep.
I think it encompasses the new kind of styles of offenses and all that. Like, I just like how it's becoming a more modern game. It feels like when the NBA brought the 3-pointer in, and it kind of changed things. It was a significant change, and it created this modern version of the game that we see today. And I think that a lot of that is going on in the NFL right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think you hit it right. Like, with the safety stuff, like, you saw those rules start to go into effect. But, like, I think people forget, like, that the NFL is such a big organization that for them to change safety rules, they couldn't just be like 1 year, just like, okay, we put in these 4 safety rules that are going to help the NFL, because it's too shocking. It's like, okay, well, now we're eliminating or we're moving the kick up. Or first it was, we're eliminating the wedge block, right? You can't just 5 guys come together and just steamroll people. Now we're moving thin. Now it's, okay, well, you can only have, 5 guys on each side of the kicker. You can't have any more than that. So it has kind of made that once super awesome play of an onside kick that, like, everyone was excited for late in the game. It kind of just eliminated that. It's like, okay, now it's even further of a shot to recover this onside kick. And I'm sure it's not like teams weren't trying to innovate around how to do an onside kick, because you did see some different things. It just, I don't think with, how the NFL onside kick rules, it was going to anything was going to get better, you know?
No, I agree. I
So
agree.
it it is awesome to see this because like you will see some if this rule was implemented,
Yep.
it changes the game. It still keeps the game. It just gives you another alternative that you can, like you said, only use 2 times a game, like a challenge flag, So the teams aren't going to be wasting that early in the game. Like it's only going to be a late game situation.
Right.
But how awesome would that be if, okay, you're down 2 scores, your team scores, they get an, they do the 4th and 15, get it, score again, tie the game up. Now you get another 4th and 15. So a team like the fucking Packers with Aaron Rodgers
Yep.
down 3 scores, has the balls left with 3 minutes, boom, scores in a minute.
Yep.
2 minutes left. They got to score 2 times.
Yes.
Now you're 4th and 15. Boom. Okay, you got it. Now you're on the 42. You got to get there again. A guy like Aaron Rodgers is marching his team down potentially 3 times in a matter of 3 minutes. It changes the game, but it changes it in a way where now we took something that became lackluster and not exciting at all, and now it changes it to something that is exciting.
Yeah.
Because when you have a guy like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, Russell Wilson, one of those guys, and you're down 3 with less than 5 minutes left, you might be feeling a little better than you would be if you were down 5 minutes,
No doubt.
and you had to kick onside kicks.
No doubt.
It's an interesting part of the game that I think does get past. I think the NFL teams will love it, especially ones with good quarterbacks that have fantastic 2-minute drills. But you're going to see like games really tighten up towards the end because a 4th and 15, even though it's a little longer and you have one play to get it there, the masterminds that are coaching are going to throw in packages for 4th and 15 that are going to be unlike anything we've ever seen.
Yep.
It's going to be halfback screens, trick plays.
Yep.
So many different things that'll be very exciting to watch, and it'll be interesting to see how those defenses play those 4th and 15s.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you bringing the blitz? Are you kind of in a little more prevent because you got some yards to give up? Like, What's going on there? So that is a very interesting element that I think they're going to be adding potentially.
Potentially, yep. And I hope the more fans that I think the more fans that get out there and just say like this is what we want, like the NFL is paying attention. Yep. Like the more fans that are like this is awesome, like we should do this. Like they'll see that they're paying attention. Like that is a thing. If you notice with the NFL, like say what you want about Roger Goodell, but like think about how much the NFL has embraced like the things that the fans enjoy. Yep. It's a reality. For sure. Like they have embraced fantasy football. They have embraced sports betting. Like they are going to keep embracing those things. And I think some of these rule changes, like, absolutely will be able to do that. And it's not shocking. It's the rule obviously favors the offenses and for casual fans, and that's pretty awesome. You get more scoring, and we've talked about that before on this show. Like, we're not trying to see 80-point games, but a little more scoring isn't bad, and having more competitive games is pretty awesome. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully,
absolutely. Yeah, and also just let's touch on Roger Goodell for a minute here. He gets a lot of shit.
He does.
He gets a lot of shit, but I would make the argument he personally has made growth, and I think, the influence of the internet and stuff like that has helped that because he used to be a fucking dick.
Yeah,
back in the day with
everybody hated
just like with player incidences and stuff, and coming down like ruling like hard on shit, like with Pac-Man Jones and different things like that. And it's like he kind of has taken more interest in players that have struggled, but also I think they've eliminated some of those rules that was getting players in trouble, so it helps that. And he has moved the NFL, and we got to remember that the NFL is a huge organization, so nothing's ever going to move quick as lightning, So it takes time. So when you look past, 5-6 years, and you do look at the changes, like, there's some things that have changed, but it doesn't really seem like they've changed. Like it's morphing over time, and not so much just changing rapidly, which I think is helpful for those old heads, and these younger generations coming through makes it much more exciting.
For sure. It's really cool to see. I think the NFL seems to be in a good place right now, and
Yeah.
I think that they are. I think the ownership is the ownership of the teams. Obviously, they're Goodell's boss at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like they I think have started to transition the way that they think too. I think
Yeah.
they've started listening to the fans as well a little bit, and at the end of the day, like that's always going to be good. It's always going to be good. I think the NFL is in a healthy place, and it's awesome, man. Especially
Yeah.
for fans
I mean,
like us. I mean, it's the best.
yeah. Their ratings are probably going to be better than ever, and I don't care
Yep.
what anyone
Yeah,
says.
for sure.
So,
For sure. I'm sure.
with that being said, our ratings are better than
No
ever,
doubt.
and I also don't care what anyone says. But guys, Monday Evening Football, we got the Monday Evening Football preview tonight. Detroit Lions versus the Green Bay Packers.
Oh,
It's an
yeah.
exciting one. Me and Nick are going to be breaking it down, analyzing, giving our predictions. I'm going to throw it out here right now. Aaron Rodgers, 378 yards, 5 TDs, 2 rush TDs.
Oh,
Book
oh yeah.
it.
There we go.
Book it. That's what I
There
got
we
for
go.
you. That's a little
I
taste.
love it. I love it.
So,
Hey, that's a beautiful way
guys,
to end the morning right there. That's a
for
beautiful
sure.
way, Scott.
Have the best Monday of your life, okay? And go watch something else on the internet, show some love, show some support. Hey, we appreciate you being here. I'm Scott. This is Nick. We're a couple of fans. We're fan casters. This is what we do. We're here for you. We're here for us. We're here for these teams. Hey, have a great week. We'll see you guys later tonight.
See you guys later.